Are you taking antidepressants and considering microdosing? Then this video is for you. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name's Fola, and here on Deep Mind Squared, we talk all things bridging mental wellness and spirituality for nurses. I want to start this video by just a reminder that I am not a doctor and I am not giving medical advice in this video. This is for harm reduction purposes and pretty much just education. So before you take any steps moving forward, I encourage you to speak with your physician or healthcare professionals who kind of oversee your health regimen with you and have a conversation about whether or not microdosing is the right step for you. I'm also not a pharmacist, so I don't fully comprehend all the ins and outs of medications. I'm going by a lot of what I've read online and understand, having worked in psychiatry as a psychiatric nurse for the last 11 years. Before we get into all the content, I invite you to hit that subscribe button over there, and the notification bell. That way you're updated on future video releases. So this is a series of Q&As on microdosing. This video specifically will be about microdosing psilocybin or mushrooms, which seems to be like the new thing. Lots of people are getting their hands on them. You can order them from a lot of websites here in Canada. In some states, I think mostly now right now it's Oregon, they have legalized psilocybin. So there are things that are happening. And obviously with antidepressants, we have to be really mindful. So depending on the antidepressant, using mushrooms in certain doses can really impact you. Here we're talking about microdosing, not macrodosing, which is like when you take a dose that's usually maybe a half a gram and up, depending on the individual. Microdosing is really taking anywhere from 100 milligrams, so what is that, a tenth of a gram, and reducing the amount and taking it consistently, or at least every few days. Most of the content I've read says that it is not as effective if one is taking antidepressants and starts microdosing. It seems like there's a counterproductive sort of chemical response in the body. And so a lot of folks might not even know or recognize the changes that are happening for them. My understanding too is it's not going to have a major impact on the person's body in such a low microdose. So again, that 100 milligrams compared to taking a larger dose where, if someone was on an antidepressant, which most likely is creating changes with the serotonin reuptake, the amount of serotonin going between the neurons, which serotonin is one of these really important neurotransmitters. Sometimes if there's too much of that, it can lead to some issues. So we can have things like serotonin syndrome, which is definitely not a good thing, but that primarily happens with larger mushroom doses and especially drugs like MDMA or ecstasy. So this is why it's super important to speak with your physician or whoever your healthcare professional is before you start a microdosing regimen. No matter what anyone or anything says online, you and your physician or whoever it is can really go into the depths of your health and see maybe what might work, what might not work. And I acknowledge that not every healthcare professional is going to just back you up with psilocybin mushrooms, but we might be there much sooner than we think. Dr. Fadiman, who's quite involved with a lot of the microdosing, is the one that has that Fadiman protocol that you take the microdose every 3 days, says that some folks have actually found microdosing to be more supportive with antidepressants, especially with wanting to get off the antidepressant medication. And I'm going to emphasize here that, again, when we're talking about making any medication changes, definitely important to speak with whoever it is that's prescribing those medications, because there's very specific ways in which you taper yourself off. Having gone through a complete withdrawal off an antidepressant, Zoloft, many years ago, I will tell you that it is not fun. So acknowledging that being on an antidepressant isn't always the best choice. Some people feel like they don't have choice. Some folks actually are on these medications for a long time and they've tried multiple times to get off without any success, and that really sucks because again, it's we hear this time and time again how these medications numb emotions, numb the feelings, and it's almost like the person doesn't feel human. So it's really being in this in between. A lot of days I just feel so much gratitude for the fact that I ended up having to just go cold turkey off the medication. It wasn't really my choice. Just a lot of different weird circumstances. Yet at the same time, those really intense, like that month long of symptoms of withdrawal was, I think, worth being free from having to take those medications for probably I'd still be on them. And that was like a long time ago. And acknowledging that antidepressants and all these medications that are prescribed, they're not bad. Like they work, they do their thing, right? This is why we have them. But working within the realm of maybe there are some more natural ways to support you on your journey. And we know that microdosing, psilocybin especially, can be supportive for folks with anxiety and depression. People share how it's worked for them, and I think it's really individual choice. But perhaps the microdosing psilocybin kind of helps balance with also tapering off some of those meds. That's something you can find lots of different sort of protocols online. Maybe it's worth looking at those and then speaking with your doctor about it. But overall, do your research. Lots of great websites out there and information you can find, but this is such a new area that there's not a whole lot of real like firm evidence at this point. I think each person's chemical makeup, their body, it's so different. The strains, I think as well, depending on the type of strain you're taking and the type of antidepressant, they can all interact. But there is a really great pharmacist, I think his name's like the Spirit Pharmacist or like the online name, and has a lot of great material out there. I'll try to link that in the description box for you. Inform yourself, educate yourself, and have the conversations. And feel free to let us know in the comments what's worked for you, what hasn't worked, and maybe what are some of your fears around going on certain antidepressants and trying microdosing or switching it up. And feel free to like and share this video with anyone you think might be interested in learning more about microdosing. And I will see you all in another video. Take care.